All right, welcome to the next video. So in this video, we are going to start to add our X and O images. You should at this point have a nice title screen, hopefully a little bit better than mine that matches your theme. One player button doesn't work at this point, so I'm going to jump to the two-player button. And now I have my screen and I've drawn all of my grid lines and I have a nice background and I'm going to have a Simpsons theme. So when I click on these squares, I want Simpsons characters to appear. So Homer will be my X image, and then maybe Marge Simpson will be my O character. But right now, nothing is happening. And first thing I need to do is go and grab my images. Before we do that, let's talk about what size should these images be. Well, my board is 900 by 900, and so each square is going to be 300 by 300. So I want my image to be just a little bit smaller than that because I don't want to cover up these grid lines. So maybe I'll make the image 298 by 298. So I'm going to search for Homer Simpson transparent. So this will usually take me to some PNG files. And if I click on this first one here, yes, so you're looking for this checkerboard background. Now, this doesn't always work. Sometimes this checkerboard background, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be transparent. So you might have to try this a couple times. But I'm going to copy this image. Then I'm going to open up Google Drawing, and you should resize this to I'm going to resize it to two. Oh, I've already done it. So I've already set this up. So it's 298 by 298. Perfect. So now I'm just going to right click and paste. And if you move Homer around, you should see those checkerboard, that checkerboard image is still there. So that means it's good. You can even resize this a little bit, so I can drop Homer right to the bottom. If you're going to resize, don't stretch on the sides, because then the image will stretch or compress. So you want to pull by the corners, and then that keeps the image as it naturally is. All right, so that looks pretty good. So I am going to download this as a PNG. Don't do JPEG because you'll lose the transparency in the background. So I'm going to keep it as a PNG. And in Chrome, it saves it down here. So I'm just going to simply take this and drag it to my folder. And I am going to rename this as Homer. Enter. Now, I was doing this earlier, so I already have an image called Homer. So I'm going to say yes. Actually, I'm going to delete my old one and rename this to exactly Homer. Okay, good. So, and you'll notice that it's a PNG file, which is great. So this should be transparent. Again, doesn't always work, but let's see what happens. So now I'm going to go to my code, and we're going to go into TicTacToe game. And what you'll need to make sure is at the very top, we already have variables for our title and our background. So you'll want to have two more variables for your X image and your O image. Okay, so when I click on my TicTacToe board, instead of drawing an X, it's going to draw Homer. So right now, I just want to test this to see if this works. So I'm going to go down to my draw board. Okay, so at this point, you should have a procedure called Start Screen, which draws your title screen with the buttons. And then you also have a method called Draw Board. It's a procedure method, so it doesn't return anything. It just prints stuff. It draws things. So I am going to say g.drawImage X image at 0, 0. So I'm just going to draw Homer in the top left corner, and then we have to say null. Now, this is not going to work because I'm realizing I haven't set up that image, or maybe I did. Okay, so if you scroll up to the first method called TicTacToe game, in your try statement, you need to make sure that you've loaded it. Yes. Okay. So again, I've already done this before I started recording the video. So you'll need to make sure you assign X image whoa, what is it, X image again? It's this up here. So you created a variable, but you hadn't assigned it anything yet. So in the try statement, we're going to assign that variable to this. And this is the exact name of that graphic that I just saved. Okay, so everything should work. I've got the image loaded up here, and I'm drawing it down in my draw board. I'm drawing it at position 0, 0. So I'm going to compile. And let's run this and see. Okay, 2 players. Perfect. Okay, so Homer is appearing. Now, obviously, I don't want him there yet. I want to wait until I click on a square. So this is what we're going to do next. Okay, so you know what? Before we do that, let's get our other image. So I'm gonna search for Marge Simpson transparent. Okay, maybe this one. Let's have a look. Okay, yeah, that's transparent. But it's got little words there, so maybe I'll pick a different one. Okay, that looks good. So I'm gonna right click and copy, and then go back to my Google Drawing. I can remove Homer because I've already saved it, and paste. All right, and then I'll resize Marge to as big as I can get, and center her. Okay, and then I'm going to download as a PNG. And there's hers. Again, if you're using Safari or Firefox, then you might not have this at the bottom. You might have to go to your downloads folder to find the image, and then go and drag it into your project folder and rename it to something better. So I'm going to call mine Marge. And it's a PNG file, great. So again, just for quick testing purposes, I'm going to go to my code, and I already have an image variable at the top called oImage. So this is going to be Marge. So in my try statement, I'm going to say oImage is equal to image.io.read new file, and this will be marge.png. Okay, and let's test it out. So in my draw board, I'm going to draw my oImage. But this one I'm going to draw, if I go to my rough work, I'm going to draw Marge in the second box. So you might do it at 300, 0, but I'm going to push it over just a little bit because I don't want to cover up my rectangle, my grid line. So I'm actually going to draw it at 302, 0. Okay, so an X value of 302. So 302 is the X, and then 0 is the Y. And let's run it and see. Okay, 2 players. Okay, good. So my images are working great, but I want to delete them, and I only want them to appear when I click. The other thing you got to do is every time you click, you have to flip back and forth between images. You don't want to just draw Homer every time. You want to flip back and forth. Okay, so we are going to cover that in the next video. I'll stop this one for now, and we'll see you in the next one.